Hi, my name is Kim Harvey. I'm the co-founder of Angels and Doves, which is a nationwide anti-bullying program located in Indianapolis, Indiana. Our headquarters is based in Indianapolis, but we reach out and speak to people from coast to coast in the U.S., and we're even being asked questions and sent emails from people in Canada, and soon to be from all over the world. First of all, Angels and Doves was founded by my mother and I because we started seeing that children only 8, 9, and 10 years old were committing suicide due to being bullied. And that's very horrifying and very disturbing. So I took my background in psychology from Indiana University and my years of experience from being a business owner and putting different products on the market, my mother's experience from working with children for a number of years and especially working with children who are autistic, and my background from my church and working with youth, we put all of these wonderful attributes together and came up with the program Angels and Doves. We're just about a year old, and already in that amount of time we've already been endorsed by Ellen DeGeneres, we've been featured on MSNBC, we've been videotaped by the Indy government channel, and have appeared on the news a number of times, as well as we were the first people ever to put up a no bullying billboard in the city of Greensburg, Indiana, after we lost the precious life of Billy Lucas, who took his own life just a year ago at the beginning of the school year, which is initially when bullying is the worst, when kids are going back to school. So if you're just tuning in, if you're a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a principal, a teacher, politician, anybody who has an interest in our youth, please don't go anyplace. Stay with me. I have some really bone-chilling statistics to share with you, as well as I would like for you to stay around and learn about Angels and Doves. Again, our program is just about a year old, but in that year I spoke to nearly 3,000 students in 12 counties, ages 6 to 18, and gave a very no-nonsense but heartfelt message to all the students that I spoke to, including their teachers, their coaches, their nurses. And I feel it's very important, if you're watching this program, to try and share it with somebody. This show will be aired many times throughout the coming school year, so you'll have an opportunity to come back and watch it again. Grab a pen, grab some paper, bring your kids in the room, watch the show, get involved, and learn the facts about bullying so that you, as a citizen, as a student, as a staff member, can become involved in our youth, keeping them out of fights, keeping them from being bullied, keeping them from being incarcerated, and further from ending up in a jail someplace, which is one of our biggest problems in our country right now. We have a way of saving our children, so here we go. First of all, what I would like to do is tell you the definition of bullying so that everybody's on the same page, and so that you're not confused by maybe the media or news articles or people who aren't so informed on what bullying actually is. Bullying is something that happens to children who are basically 5 to 18 years old. It most normally takes place at the school or around the school or the school bus or on the way home from school or on the way to school. Bullying is an intentional, aggressive act against another person without their permission that happens over and over and over again. So let me say this again and then we'll kind of break it down. Bullying is an intentional, aggressive act against another person without their permission that happens over and over and over again. So, when I hear that students are saying they're being bullied, statistically, 60% of all children across the U.S. say they're being bullied, but statistically, only 16% of staff members actually believe they're being bullied. This is very lopsided. This is a problem. So, when a student comes to you, mom, dad, teacher, principal, and they say they're being bullied, please be very, very educated on the definition of bullying so you immediately will know if they're being bullied. So, first of all, is it intentional? Was it done on purpose? If a child is mean to another child intentionally, not by mistake, it could be bullying. Number two, is it aggressive? Are they doing it boldly and forcefully on purpose? That's number two. Okay, so now you know what to ask as the first two questions. Number three, you want to find out if it's being done over and over and over again. Well, with the onset of school, it's kind of hard to know if it's happening over and over again yet. However, bullying can carry over from the previous school year into our brand new school year. All right? It can carry over from first semester to second semester, and then again into the fall semester. So it can carry over. Remember, bullying is intentional. So the kids who are the bullies, they've made a decision to be a bully. They picked their victim. They want to be a bully. Now they've picked their victim. So those are the first two signs. So find out from the student if it's happening over and over and over again. Let's say it's September. If this issue is still happening in November, chances are it's definitely bullying, okay? And then bullying number 4 is if it's done against a person's free will. Well, none of us want to be harmed. Nobody wants to be harmed. We don't want to be harmed verbally, physically, or emotionally. Bullying covers all 3 of those areas, plus cyberbullying, which everybody's familiar with right now. So, if the child is being attacked physically, verbally, emotionally, or through electronics, if it's intentional, if it's aggressive, and if it's happening over and over again, you have bullying. So it's very, very important for the parents and the grandparents and our teachers, our staff members, our coaches, our nurses, school bus drivers, principals. All adults should now be informed on bullying. After all, education, taxpayers' dollars, incarceration, these are all big issues in our Senate. So if we look at our government and our politics and our legalities, attorneys' fees, education, when you put it all together, if we all have a clear understanding of bullying, we can get to it directly. We can possibly save the school a lot of embarrassment, humiliation. How many schools have been on the news in the last 5 years about bullying? Okay? So choose a program. Angels and Doves. Sure, I'm going to promote my program. It's a great program. We're making a difference. It's well thought out. There's a foundation to it. We have support tools. We're making a difference. So we're asking you, as the audience, kids, if you're watching, like I said, take some notes. Think about how we can all work together to end bullying. So again, by knowing the definition, if you're an educator, when you hear about bullying incidents, now you've got some tools to start working effectively with the students. Is it intentional? Is it aggressive? Is it being done over again? Are you afraid? Are you embarrassed? Are you humiliated? Do you go home and cry? Are you having nightmares? Are you not sleeping at night? Are you eating properly? Getting enough sleep? Do you know statistically that 160,000 students stay home every day due to bullying? Okay, that is an alarming statistic. 160,000 students stay home every day because they don't want to go to school and be humiliated. So I ask you a question. If you're an adult, Do you want to go to work and be humiliated? Do you want to be embarrassed? Do you want to be intimidated? Absolutely not. We're all made of the same emotions. We all want to be accepted. We want to be loved. We want to be nurtured. We want to be supported. We want to be embraced. We're born that way. We're not born mean. Nobody is born to be a bully. I teach this when I go out and I speak to the kids in schools. They love hearing this. I watch their face, no matter if they're 6 or 18. The kids love it when I say, you want to be loved? We love you at Angels and Doves. You're loved. You're embraced. You're supported. You have somebody to come to. You can read it in their face. They love hearing this, especially the kids that are being bullied. Again, when a child is bullied, keep in mind, as I just said, even if you're an adult, you don't want to be embarrassed or humiliated. Think about kids, 6 to 18. They're finding their way in life, okay? That's hard. All you have to do is think back to when you were in the 6th grade or the 8th grade or a junior. Life's tough when you're a kid. And then you have all of these outside circumstances coming at you that hurt you emotionally and psychologically. So if we can get the right training in every one of our schools, the right anti-bullying message in every school, first semester, second semester, every semester, it needs to be a program that's initiated into all schools for all children, especially back to school, and then follow up in second semester so that all the kids and all the staff can be reminded of our message that we don't have to be mean to each other. We want everybody to be accepted. And here are some of the tools that Angels and Doves has created, some of the tools that we have implemented to support the message that I'm giving you right now. So, one of the first steps in our program is to come in to a school, a church, an organization, your city, anywhere in the country, and to give the message and the presentation of Angels and Doves. Our mission, our message, the definitions, the tools. We support it by a program that I created called the Bull Program. It is a fabulous case study on children. Here's what the program is. When I go in and I speak to a school, again, age 6 to 18, I explain to the kids exactly what bullying is, and I explain why a child is a bully. And I explain why certain children end up being bullied. I offer to them a middle ground solution. It's called the Bull Program. Children in their school can volunteer to become the bull. The bull wears one of our trademarked Angels and Doves No Bullying t-shirts, which I have on. As the bull, they're a peacekeeper. And on the back of their shirt, it goes further to say, I'm the bull, you can talk to me. Now again, keep in mind, the children are volunteers. They choose to become the bull. Now, of course, we do this with the staff's input. They have the final say on who actually becomes the bull. These kids wear the shirts in their schools, and then they're easily identifiable because of the wording on the front and the back of their shirt. So let's say that a little girl is in the bathroom, or a teenage boy is in the locker room, or you're on the school bus. Those are big areas of being bullied, okay? And 2 or 3 other kids come in to intimidate you. Remember, bullying is intentional. They come to the child that they've chosen as their victim, and they want to start harassing them, or poking them, or teasing them, or embarrassing them, or humiliating them, or threatening them, or hitting them, or punching them, tripping them, threatening them. But they've heard the Angels and Doves presentation in their school, and they have the BOLD program implemented. The child that's been chosen as the victim immediately knows, I've got a safe place to go. I'm going out in the hall, I'm leaving the restroom, I'm leaving the locker room, I'm getting off the bus, I'm leaving the alley, I'm getting off the sidewalk, I'm going down the hall. Wherever they need to go, they can identify the bull by their t-shirt. They know that immediately they're in a safety zone, because the kids that become the bull have had training from Angels and Doves. We come back into the school, we work with them and the staff members, we tell them what it's all about to be the bull, and basically it's very simple. You're a peacekeeper, you're helping other people, and you're taking somebody that's afraid to a safe place. So they're not actually intervening, they're not actually giving the advice, but they are taking the child who's being picked on to a safe place. The principal's office, the nurse's office, the teacher, home, to the parent, to the bus driver. It's a wonderful intermediate area where children can go to become safe immediately. But here's the interesting part that I want you to really listen to. When I speak at schools and I introduce the BOLD program, at the end of my presentation, I ask the kids, now that you've heard about being a bully, and now you've heard about being bullied, and you've heard about the BOLD program, how many of you think you would like to become the bull and become a peacekeeper and not be either side? Amazingly, about 99% raise their hand. There are always one or two that maybe don't raise their hand, but when you've got groups of 100, 200, and 300 children, and 99% are raising their hand, what does that prove? It proves to me and everybody else that bullying can come to an end, that there is a solution for bullying, that if we teach about it in schools, we can hopefully keep a majority of kids from being hurt, a majority of kids from feeling like they want to commit suicide. We can keep a majority of kids from staying home from school. And we can teach them immediately that they are the solution to the problem. Interesting, isn't it? Let me say that again. Really, the kids can be the solution to the bullying problem in our country just by inviting a program such as Angels and Doves into every school in your school district, teaching them, supporting them, loving them, educating them, and then giving them a choice of being the helper and not the victim, being a helper and not the one who's committing the violence. Because bullying is a violent act, and it falls into anti-bullying causes. Okay? So with that being said, the BOLD program is a terrific program that all schools can be implementing through the Angels and Doves program. It is indigenous to Angels and Doves. Again, it is a program that I wrote. And we encourage school districts to not only bring the Angels and Doves program into maybe the 2nd and 3rd grade, but the way that bullying is going to be most effective is if you bring a program in to all of your grade levels in your school district. Because then you know that the 8-year-olds heard it, the 13-year-olds heard it, and the 15-year-olds heard it. Well, if you know that you've covered everybody in your school district, then you have a better way of evaluating the Angels and Doves program. Which leads me to the next issue, which is called the Bully Book. It's another tool that we have to support you and to support children who might be hurting. I wrote this book, and it's actually now being published by Tate Publishing, which is a Christian publisher out of Oklahoma, and it should be out on the shelves internationally this fall. I think they're moving pretty quickly with it. They feel it's a big issue, and one of the reasons that I think they chose the Angels and Doves Bully book is because I wrote this book not only to be educational and to be healing, but it's an injury and suicide prevention tool, which is the first of its kind ever. The reason that it is an intervention product is because I made it a journal. This book actually has 40 pages where the student can fill in the blank, write down what's happening to them, how they feel, if they're hurting, if somebody is hurting them. There's even space for them to draw pictures. Now, of course, our teens aren't going to draw pictures, but our younger kids will. And we all know, as we've heard statistically and on television, that when children who are much younger, when they draw pictures, they will show you exactly who's hurting them in a picture. Sometimes children who are younger are so hurt, so intimidated, so fearful that they won't tell you. But given the opportunity to draw a picture, you will see who in their life could be hurting them. Okay, I'm going to tell you something that could surprise you. Typically, a bully becomes a bully because they are being bullied. It's true. Now, we don't always know who they're being bullied by. It could be a friend, it could be somebody in the house, it could be a neighbor, a babysitter. We just don't know who it is. But typically, bullies become aggressive because they are already being bullied and they're trying to find a way of being accepted and finding superiority out of their actual environment where they're being bullied. Bullying is a psychological imbalance of power. So again, that's why they're pretty aggressive with it and pretty intentional with it, because they're trying to find their way in life. They're trying to find a way where they can defend themselves and be superior and be above the situation. So that's why they typically take it to school, because that's where they spend most of their time. They can go to school, pick their victim, boys and girls both. So it could be the boy, it could be the girl, finding their victim, boy or girl. And we've found all kinds of situations here, okay? They go to school and they look for their victim. Now again, to recap, bullying is 4 different forms. It's physical, it's verbal, it's emotional, and it's through your cell phone, texting, pictures, and email. So I really ask you to also educate your children, our youth, on how to use electronic devices. Maybe they don't need a Facebook page. Maybe they don't need a cell phone until they're a little bit older. Maybe they just need to hear the education from Angels and Doves that gives all the warnings about cell phone use and Facebook and MySpace. So there are many ways that you can educate your children and really get into this area of concern about all of our children in schools and outside of schools. With that being said, I hope that I've given you some insightful information today, some good education on bullying, and again, please remember, Angels and Doves, we are only a phone call or an email away. You can reach us by calling 317-870-1100, or you can email us at info@angelsanddoves.com. And of course, jump on the website. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. You can reach us in many different ways. So again, we thank you for tuning in, and please watch the kids, stay in touch, and let's make schools a better place to go. Thank you.